You'll have plenty to do all around southwest Colorado this 4th of July. Lake Nighthorse remains closed for a while longer. Find out why. And discover what treasure Mancos residents unearthed in an old newspaper office. These stories and more in this edition of Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon.
You're watching Inside Durango News, your source for information about southwest Colorado. Powered by Fast Signs. More than fast, more than signs.
Former Democratic presidential candidate Gary Hart urged La Plata County Party volunteers earlier this month to work hard to get voters to the polls this November. Hart was the keynote speaker at the La Plata County Democrats' annual Jefferson Jackson Day dinner and fundraiser held on June 21st at the Doubletree Hotel. Across the county at the Skyute Casino, the Republican Party faithful held its annual fundraiser the same evening with Hugo Chavez-Ray as keynote speaker. Chavez-Ray is the chairman of the Colorado Hispanic Republicans. Hart carried the most star power Saturday night. He ran for the Democratic nomination for president in 1984, losing to Walter Mondale, and again in 1988 when he was forced to drop out of the race after allegations he was having an affair. Both Hart and his wife maintained his innocence. But that old scandal didn't dampen the Democratic enthusiasm for Hart's message. Hart said that the Democrats tend to lose ground in a non-presidential election year, and if Democrats want to maintain their majority in the U.S. Senate and to keep Democratic Governor John Hickenlooper in office, they need to cast their ballots. He also was in town to promote his new book called Durango. It's a novel about water and politics set in southwest Colorado, and dozens of fans lined up to purchase the book and ask for Hart's signature. Hart told the audience that he loved visiting Durango and he loved being a Colorado resident.
Given the politics of Kansas, I came out here when I was 7 years old and saw Colorado, and I said, this is my home. Why wasn't my mother here when I was born? So I have written a letter that I'm going to present to Governor Hickenlooper that will have the governor declare, so far as he is concerned, that I am a native-born son of Colorado.
In addition to the two keynote speakers, candidates for county and state offices hit the podiums at both fundraisers to ask for their party support. They included Democratic Cynthia Roebuck, who's running against Republican Brad Blake for the county commissioner seat in District 1. District 1 is now held by Republican Bobby Lieb. But Lieb isn't running for re-election as commissioner. Instead, he's running for county treasurer against Democrat Allison Morrissey. Democrat Sean Smith is running against Republican incumbent Duke Sherrard for sheriff. Democrat Michael McLaughlin will face off against Republican J. Paul Brown. McLaughlin defeated Brown 2 years ago in Brown's re-election bid to Colorado's House of Representatives. The Republicans honored Gene Brown as their Republican of note, and the Democrats recognized Diane Wildfang, Kirk Comic, and Allison Dance for their volunteer work over the years. For more information on this year's races, visit the La Plata County Democrat and Republican Party websites at laplatadem's.org and laplatarepublicans.org. A frustrated crowd of more than 100 area residents gathered at the Durango Recreation Center on June 18th to find out when the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation will open Lake Nighthorse to boating, fishing, swimming, and hiking. And they still don't have an answer. Lake Nighthorse is a 1,500-acre reservoir located in Ridges Basin, just southwest of downtown Durango. It was built by the Bureau of Reclamation as part of the Animas La Plata Water Project to settle Ute water right claims and to provide municipal and industrial drinking water to the area. And as is the case with other Bureau reservoirs, it also provides an opportunity for fishing, boating, camping, hiking, and other recreational activities. The reservoir began filling with water in 2009 and reached capacity in 2011. But the lake has remained closed to the public, much to the public's frustration. So what's the holdup? Well, a number of different federal, state, tribal, and local government agencies are involved in the negotiations to designate a recreation manager for the 5,500 acres that encompasses the reservoir and surrounding lands owned by the Bureau of Reclamation. That kind of collaboration takes time. Lots of time and patience. Bureau of Reclamation Representative Kathleen Ozga assured the frustrated audience that the Bureau was making progress on the complex negotiations. And she asked the public to continue to honor the closure at Lake Nighthorse. So when will the reservoir be open for recreation? Here's how it stands at this moment. The city of Durango has agreed to manage the area if it can annex the lake's surface, the shoreline, and the areas designated for future recreation. Those areas are designated in green on the planning map. The city also wants to annex the area to provide adequate law enforcement. Kathy Metz, Director of City Parks and Recreation, said the Durango City Council will have to approve annexation, but before it does, it has to have a management agreement with the Bureau. Before the Bureau approves a management agreement, it wants to make sure that the city's annexation includes provisions to address how the area will de-annex if the city doesn't want to do its job anymore. In addition, the Southern Ute Mountain and Navajo Indian tribes want to ensure that they can still hunt on tribal lands that their reservoir area now encompasses. The city has asked the tribes to not exercise their right to hunt in those areas where it expects to develop recreational facilities for public safety. The tribes, Bureau of Reclamation, and the city continue to discuss tribal hunting rights at the reservoir, Metz said. The Bureau also wants to make sure that future recreational developments will protect water quality and tribal cultural resources. And that means the Bureau will require a planning agreement from the City of Durango, a cultural resource management plan that requires stakeholders' approval, an environmental assessment on proposed recreational facilities, and a guarantee from the city to provide a minimum level of recreational facilities. Then, once all those agreements are worked out, the city needs to build an entry station, overflow parking, a dock at the boat ramp, and make road improvements, all before it opens Lake Nighthorse to recreation. Estimated total cost for recreational facilities at Lake Nighthorse is around $5.6 million, Metz said. Funding is expected to be covered by grants and revenues from the city's half-cent sales tax designated for parks recreational improvement. The city plans to ask voters to renew that tax in 2015. The steps are about as complex as aligning the colors in a Rubik's Cube. But why so much upfront planning and investment before Lake Nighthorse is open for recreation? 20,000 residents live within a 5-mile radius of Lake Nighthorse, and all of the stakeholders involved want to ensure that the massive influx of users doesn't destroy the cultural resources, the water quality, or the environment. And if you have doubts about the potential demand on Lake Nighthorse, just look to the Animas River. It's overrun by 52,000 user days a season. That's a lot of fishermen, hikers, campers, and boaters at Lake Nighthorse. After the break, when will the Oxbow Park and Preserve be open to Animas River users?
It's time for rejuvenation with luxurious healing waters, breathtaking views, and lavish spa treatments at the Springs Resort and Spa in Pagosa Springs. Stay at the new EcoLux Hotel and enjoy 24-hour access to our 23 unique pools by the river. Indoors, relax in the hotel and enjoy therapeutic services at the spa. It's time for rejuvenation at the Springs Resort and Spa in Pagosa Springs.
Durango Party Rental is the source in the Four Corners for weddings and special events. We offer the largest and highest quality selection of tents and events equipment in the area. Our full-service professional event consultants can provide the care and attention to detail that result in a flawless event, so you can relax knowing you are in good hands. Be sure to check out our incredible private event venue at La Platte's Pond. Give us a call or visit our website to see how we can help you put it all together perfectly.
It may take a couple of years before Animas River users will be able to launch their rafts and paddleboards from the Oxbow Park north of Durango, but at least they'll be able to drive to the riverbank to drop off their watercraft. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board voted earlier this month to approve the drive-in design option for the Oxbow River Park. The vote puts to rest the controversy over whether access to the river from Oxbow Park should be limited to walk-in or vehicle traffic. Residents adjacent to Oxbow wanted to prohibit vehicles in the area, but river outfitters and others have advocated for vehicle access and parking. The Oxbow design was one of 4 that the advisory board approved at its June meeting. It also gave the nod to designs for the 33rd Street access off 33rd Avenue north of the 32nd Street, the 29th Street access, and at Santa Rita Park. Durango Parks and Recreation Director Kathy Metz said the public and advisory board suggested a few minor modifications on the designs. Architects will include them in the conceptual plans that will be presented to the advisory board on July 9th and the City Council at a study session on July 22nd. The City Council doesn't have to approve the designs at this point, Metz said. The Council takes final action when it authorizes funding for construction. The conceptual design for Oxbow includes a parking lot for 23 vehicles to the west of the railroad tracks. The access road to the river crosses the tracks and the proposed river trail to a circular staging area. It also includes a wheelchair-accessible picnic area and overlook, and a trail to a sandy beach on that point that juts out into the river bend. The 33rd Street access includes one-way turnaround at the staging area with a boat ramp and walk-in ramps. The staging area can accommodate up to 9 trucks with trailers at one time. The area also includes 10 off-street parking spaces. The 29th Street area includes a paved staging area, additional parking, and relocates the Animas River Trail from the street to the riverside. And finally, the Santa Rita staging area includes a natural beach, picnic shelters, and a paved loading zone. Estimated total cost for the four access improvements will be about $5.5 million. Construction will be conducted in phases as city revenues become available. Met said the advisory board will determine how much access sites will be improved first. More than likely, work on the Oxbow area will occur later rather than sooner, Met said. The city would like to extend the river trail from 32nd Street to Oxbow before it opens. For now, Oxbow is closed to the public. To see access designs and a schedule of public meetings, visit the City of Durango's website at durangogov.org. We're heavy on recreation news this edition, but that's because there are a lot of improvements being made at Durango's favorite recreation sites. The latest is a new parking lot and trailhead improvements to the entrance of Horse Gulch open space area. The trailhead is located behind the new health center next to Sonic. The development includes a paved parking lot for 18 vehicles, landscaping, trailhead signage, and storm drainage improvements. The Horse Gulch open space area includes 3,600 acres of land owned by the City of Durango, the Bureau of Land Management, and private property owners. The city owns more than 1,300 acres in the area with about 16 miles of trails. The construction project at the trailhead is expected to be completed by the end of August. You can continue to access Horse Gulch from the area, but you're encouraged to park on the west side of East 8th Avenue in the Park Elementary School neighborhood. For more information, visit the City of Durango's website at durangogov.org. The town of Mancos has a treasure on its hands, and you'll be surprised what it is. Up next.
The Powerhouse Science Center thanks all the dads, moms, kids, and community members who participated in Who's Your Daddy 2014. You made it an incredible success. Special thanks to our Sugar Daddy sponsor, the Carver Brewing Company. Our main stage sponsors, Mercy Regional Medical Center, Centura Health, and R.H. Crossland Foundation. And our presenting sponsors, Fast Signs of Durango, Inside Durango TV, 360 Durango, and Four Corners Broadcasting. We truly appreciate all our community sponsors.
Whether you make your plans over a barbed wire fence or over wireless internet, if you're coming from the stockyard or the stock exchange, Durango is right at home at the Diamond Bell, timeless and timely.
You're watching Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. You can download a book onto a Kindle or read the news on your telephone, but once upon a time, publishers relied on giant printing presses to produce our reading materials. And the town of Mancos recently discovered a 19th century press that's proving to be a secret treasure. Then stay tuned for a visit with the City of Durango's Multi-Modal Transportation Director, Amber Blake, about efforts to reduce our reliance on driving in Durango.
The town of Mancos has discovered a 9,000-pound antique tucked away in the old Mancos Times building. In cooperation with the Mancos Town Council, University of Pennsylvania graduate students and staff have been traveling to Mancos to restore a rare Cranston printing press to working condition. Earlier this month, the crew managed to get the press in operational order. And once it's fully restored, the town hopes to put this historical relic to use.
We're standing in the Mancos Times building, and it's home of the Mancos Press and has been for over 100 years. And until about 3 or 4 years ago, people actually produced a newspaper out of here. Not printed it, but had an office here, interviewed people, wrote articles, and then had it printed elsewhere, basically at the Cortez Journal. A man by the name of Frank Matero arrived in town. He's been bringing University of Pennsylvania students to work at Mesa Verde for probably 20 years, and discovered this building and got it opened up and peeked in the back room, and lo and behold discovered what is behind us, the Cranston Press.
This is our Cranston newspaper press. with the lockup, and it's fully inked up right now. When I first came to see the press, there was a bunch of furniture and old equipment all around it. So a group came out in January from Penn, the Historic Preservation Department, came and started to clear out the area and preserve some of the type we have in boxes and move things out of the way so we could get to this press. When I got here, the press was covered in a thick layer of dirt and grease, but it was pretty well preserved back here. So all of the grease and all of the grime covering it kept everything in pretty great condition. So it has all of the parts that we need to print, and what we did is we just had to clean all of the surfaces. We've been working with this belt mechanism. Originally it was steam powered, which you can see in the photograph taken in 1910. At some point a motor was added, and these belts give it, that's how we power it. So basically the motor will turn on when we turn it on, and then these belts will engage the gears and then the cylinder to make the type move back and forth. This is we call a lockup, and this metal thing, these are called chases. And what you do is you set your type in your images, or this would be your one side of a newspaper in a chase. And we have these things called coins, and we lock it all up tight so that nothing moves in there. And then down here there are, it's hard to see, but there are 2 rubber rollers at the bottom of this assembly, and what they do is they roll ink over the type. And there are some small adjustments you can make to make that ink lay cleanly over the type. And then the rest of this apparatus is all designed to distribute the ink to these rollers in a really smooth, even way.
It's a very old historic press. There aren't very many left in the United States. We're not sure how many, but he came to the Mancos chamber and he said, you guys have a gold mine here. You have a building that was built in 1910, a press that was built prior to 1910 that has been in there the whole time. It's a real historical place, not just a building, but a building with one tenant for over 100 years, and that's the Mancos Times. And he said, I have a plan to restore the whole thing and start a graphic arts school, and I need your help. And so Tammy and I were both on the chamber board at that time, and we said, boy, does this sound like an exciting adventure for Mancos, and so we got behind it.
So now we get to look forward into the future, into phase 2, 3, 4, creating a graphic arts school here, potentially, that is blending this letterpress technology that there's been a real resurgence, a whole renaissance of letterpress enthusiasts around the world. And we happen to have a very historic, pretty rare press here. So to have artist in residency programs where artists can come and print their work here on the press. You could have authors come and write poetry and bring their books and have them printed here. You can do one-of-a-kind posters. We can do full color on this press with a little bit of modification. And the beauty of letterpress, as you'll see, is it's actually pressed into the paper. So we're really excited about the potential, especially right now, given that the press is up and running and is functional. So.
What an amazing discovery in Mancos. What's old becomes new again, just like walking or riding your bike, right, Amber?
Right.
I've got Amber Blake. She is the Multi-Modal Administrator here in Durango, and we are talking about some of the many projects that you guys have coming up in the next, we're not going to say year, because it might take a little longer than that, right. But you've got tons on your plate.
We do. We have a number of different projects that were all part of the Multi-Modal Transportation Master Plan that we've secured federal funding for and we'll be implementing over the course of the next 3 years.
Nice. So let's back it up a little bit and just talk about multimodal transportation, because some people, that might get lost on some folks.
Right. So multimodal is basically everything but driving your car by yourself. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about vehicle traffic, bikes, pedestrians, scooters, wheelchairs, whatever skateboards, any way that you get around. So from getting from point A to point B, no matter who you are, that's what we work with.
All right. So what's on the, and I know there's a lot in the master plan. What's on the immediate horizon?
So for this coming year, we have 2 plans that are currently under design. We received a Federal Transit Administration grant for approximately $400,000 to implement connectivity project near 2nd and 15th. So the railroad tracks over there by Rotary Park where you get on the Animas River Trail.
Okay, yeah. And I know that's notoriously a little confusing because it's hard to know if you're riding your bike where you should be in the road.
Right, and the tracks cross at a strange angle, so you actually have to come up and hit it at a right angle, so it gets really confusing for everyone. So what the plan is for that project is to put the composite track down similar to what's in at the crossing near the post office. So it's that nice rubbery kind of surface that's flat and relatively safe.
Easier to navigate a little
Much
bit.
easier. And then improved striping. So we're going to change the lane striping. It will be 2 lanes instead of 2.5, 3 lanes.
Where am I going? I've noticed that there's always some confusion around there.
More signage, better crosswalks, and then adding in sidewalk to connect all the way over to 14th Street where you've got the pedestrian activated crossing at 14th and Main Avenue.
So more seamless overall.
More seamless. We're working towards getting, our goal for the multimodal master plan was a 7th grade aged child could get around Durango by themselves safely.
Oh, that's a good way to put it, I guess.
So
nice. So you got that, and then I know there's another one that's coming up as well in that connectivity project.
Right, so then so that is slated for construction with the train closure in November.
Okay.
And then before that, we've got the Brookside Park project, which is funded from FTA 5309 State of Good Repair money, and it's about a $200,000 project. And we'll be putting in a pedestrian crossing over Junction Creek on the 24th Street Bridge, improving the ADA curb ramps so that if you've ever been over there, you could stay there for about 5 minutes and you'll see moms with strollers, women or like elderly people with like a walker, or someone trying to get on and off of that curb.
And it's just
a mess.
Yes.
And then in the winter, you see the school children crossing each other in the travel lane because there's no there's no sidewalk on that side of the street. So
the goal there, more seamless.
More seamless and a nice connection through the alley all the way up to the backside of the trolley stop on Main Avenue.
Nice. So it sounds like there are really no shortage, and we were chatting before the interview, that there's projects from now until forever, it seems.
Right. My kids will be in college, and I will still be working on the same project list.
And to put it in perspective, they're how old now?
3 and 6.
Okay, so that paints the picture right there. So for people who are interested in learning more about what the city has plans for and kind of being in tune when construction is going to come down the road, where's a good place for them to go for more information?
The city's website's a great place. You can get to the main city webpage at durangogov.org or to the multimodal page directly at getarounddurango.com. My phone number is 375-4949. Feel free to call me. I'm happy to talk about any of the projects and always love input. Our planning process came about from 75 public meetings, and all the projects in that plan came from at least one person in the public saying, I have a project, please put it down.
And Durango people are very vocal about what they want to see in town, so that's both good and bad, I guess.
I think it's great because the citizens of Durango are the eyes and the ears. We can't be everywhere at once, so if there's a project in your neighborhood, if something needs to get fixed, let us know.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure it'll keep you busy for a long time to come. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, your 4th of July updates.
If you love Durango, grab this edition of Durango Magazine today. Explore Durango's vibrant art scene and a nearby city that disappeared. Discover what's happening on the Animas River and what Durango families do for fun with their kids. Dining guide and Durango's dream homes too. Captivating stories, award-winning design, and stunning local photography. Durango Magazine, serving people who love Durango since 1986. By mail, your hotel room, free racks all around town, and at Magpie's newsstand.
Yeehaw!
Ride 'em, cowboy!
Experience the heritage of the Old West. It's the new and exciting True West Rodeo in Durango every other Wednesday throughout the summer at La Plata County Fairgrounds. Cheer real cowboys and cowgirls as they test their mettle with bronc busting, bull riding, barrel racing, and more. Authentic Western halftime shows, Native American dancers, Wild West gunfights, and special performances honoring military and emergency response personnel. Visit TrueWestRodeo.com for ticket and schedule information.
You're watching Inside Durango News. I'm Ashley Dixon. This week we have a roundup of 4th of July activities. As of this edition's taping, area fireworks displays were a go, despite a fire ban on the Southern Indian Reservation. Elsewhere in the area, emergency officials are taking a day-to-day approach as they assess fire danger and additional restrictions. In the meantime, you'll have plenty to do with traditional parades, street dances, and barbecues. In Durango, the Business Improvement District has been hard at work planning a day of celebration that's expected to be bigger and better than ever. The parade will begin at 6 p.m. on Friday on Main Avenue. It'll be followed immediately after by the annual street dance between 8th and 9th Street. The dance will feature the High Rollers, a country rock band from Durango. Fireworks begin at dusk. To the east, the historic Bayfield Parade begins at 10 a.m. on July 4th, followed by post-parade activities including a kids' carnival with music, food and drink vendors as well. The Bayfield Parade, by the way, is the oldest in the area. It's been around for 108 years. The fun continues at noon with the annual Bayfield Horseshoe Tournament, followed by music from Wild Country. Bayfield will also host a fireworks show at dusk in the city's park. Independence Day in Pagosa Springs starts with a pancake breakfast at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish Hall at 7:30 a.m. Downtown will be painted red, white, and blue for the Star-Spangled Shuffle, a 3 and 5K fun run that starts at 8 a.m. The Pagosa Parade begins at 10 a.m., and if weather conditions cooperate, fireworks will light up the sky at dusk. Silverton's celebration starts with a race at 8 a.m. at Memorial Park. The parade begins at 10:30 a.m. on Blair Street. A fireman's water fight follows the parade, and a town picnic follows the water fight. A brass band will perform from noon to 1 p.m. in Memorial Park, followed at 2 p.m. by a rubber ducky derby in Cement Creek. Eat rhubarb and ice cream from noon to 3 p.m. in Memorial Park, then rest up for the fireworks display at 9 p.m. For a full schedule, contact your local Chamber of Commerce. That's it for this week's Community Updates. The Community Calendar is brought to you by what'shappeningdurango.com. Post your free event today and join the one-stop, easy-to-use events calendar for Durango. I'm Ashley Dixon. Thanks for watching Inside Durango News, and remember, keep watching. You'll like what you see.
Tune in weekly to watch Inside Durango News, your source for what's going on in Southwest Colorado. Powered by Fast Signs. More than fast, more than signs. You can watch Inside Durango News anytime at durangotv.com.